Okay, this is a first, and I don't know what kind of repercussions I may have for this video or this channel, but just listen to this.
A guy with goggles and a British person. Marvel Studios. Marvel Studios.
That's how Taika Waititi opens his commentary. I'm so happy right now. Ooh, smooth transition into Muspelheim's fire melting the Marvel logo.
Now I know what you're thinking. Oh no, Thor's in a cage. How did this happen?
This is not your grandpa's Thor movie, and having Thor slyly address the audience is a good way to let us know.
Well, sometimes you have to get captured just to get a straight answer out of somebody.
And at the same time, if you're paying attention, you realize he's not in any danger, and it almost seems like he's pulling a Loki.
I cannot die, not until I fulfill my destiny.
Hey, it's Captain Hadley from Shawshank. You know, the guy you hate, and then you like, and then you sort of hate, and then I can't remember where we end up. But Clancy Brown does a pretty awesome Surtur.
The great prophecy.
Hang on. I'll be back around shortly.
And the real solid confirmation that we're in for a new Thor. See, I saw this in theaters, so I chuckled. When my wife and I watched it together last weekend, she sighed, "Oh, Thor's like a comedy now? Where's Natalie Portman?" We worked through it.
All will burn.
Oh, that's intense. You know, to be honest, seeing you grow really big and set fire to a planet would be quite the spectacle.
And if I'm being honest, Taika Waititi, you may be a genius. This jokey, bantery cold open sets up the entire culmination to this film, but there's not even a hint of that until the final act. Also, you did a really good job doing the mocap for Surtur. And Immigrant Song can't possibly be used any better than this awesome melee. Can it?
Behold! My stuff.
So, 2 weeks ago, we saw Karl Urban scowl and growl his lines behind a judge helmet, and now he's unironically naming M16s. Can anyone say range?
You see, when you put them together, they destroy.
Change of heart shadowing. Kinda goes without saying in the MCU at this point, but the visual effects and CGI are off the chain. From Surtur's sword being dragged and the close-up on his face, to his whole essence getting sucked up into the skull, to this crazy dragon and all the little hammer fodder demons. All stellar. But also an amazing beast created mostly for laughs. That hammer trick never gets old. The physics of that thing make less sense than Cap's shield.
Sketch.
And Karl Urban doesn't even care. Holy crap, this title card rivals Guardians. Did you see that? Bifrost title card transition? How do you make one of the most epic, over-the-top, almost cartoonishly intense title card transitions drop your jaw but also wink and nod at you so you chuckle at its insanity? I mean, the guys who made Heavy Metal were like, easy Taika, reel it in there, brother. I know I'm personally partial to 80s synth, but come on. Everyone at least smiles when they see Thor flying to that score, right? I love that Loki chose Sam Neill for Odin. He's cool, everyone likes Sam Neill, but made sure he was played by A-lister Matt Damon, while Thor was portrayed by the least famous Hemsworth.
At that time, I turned you into a frog. It was a wonderful joke.
It was indeed hilarious.
Throg!
Well, board meetings and Security Council meetings.
Gotta give Anthony Hopkins credit again for playing Loki, pretending to be Odin. Well, see, this is what happens when you let Beatrice McGillicuddy and her heroin-crammed Hummels get out of control. So it actually makes sense that everyone knows Thor. He's a celebrity. But if these are college-age girls, what the... She's a Hemsworth too? How many are there? Oh, really? Okay, seems like that might be a coincidental name. Anyway, they were just kids when Loki tried to take over Earth, so they probably wouldn't recognize him, especially without the horns.
One strand of your hair. Let me explain something. My hair is not to be meddled with.
Stanley shadowing.
I have been falling for 30 minutes!
This is how you do a crossover cameo. Keep it light. Strange doesn't steal the show, but his power and importance also isn't diminished. And they approach the question of Loki's magic versus Strange's magic, but don't want to make a fool of Loki in his own trilogy. It's handled perfectly.
Bye-bye.
Odin still got that beautiful beard. Win. Ignoring for a second that they gave it away in the trailers, having her destroy something we've seen all our favorite heroes fail to even lift in her first seconds on screen is a pretty good way to introduce your villain. Also, Cate Blanchett is always a win. Also, a little visual storytelling as Hela gets clearly powered up by her entrance to Asgard and her suit goes from tattered to whole with her iconic green.
I'm Hela.
Okay, now it's a reboot. Thank goodness Sif was off-world. Even in a comedy, we get a little visual nuance framing the Asgard tower between Hela's antlers, since she's, you know, about to engulf it. dang it, I love the crossfade of orchestral ominous music with the 80s synth that's prevalent on Sakaar. The tone shifts back and forth make the transitions easy on the brain. And while I'm talking about the overall feel the music creates, one thing I begrudgingly left out of my 60-second review was how the trailers for the movie introduced me to Magic Sword, and how my life hasn't been the same ever since. Just listen to this. The entire album is that good. Someone commented I never showed the clip from my teaser frame for last week, so this was the Ragnarok teaser frame that wasn't bright, and this was the pixelated Fantastic Mr. Fox frame. So basically the contention is that there's a portal to Sakaar off the back of my dryer, and that's where all my socks go? I accept that. Now that's an entrance. Indiana Jones meets Sakaar. She could take them all easily, but when you've got hologram-controlled guns, and maybe you've been drinking since 9 a.m., ha! That's definitely Hulk's lower jaw. I'd know it anywhere. More importantly, that's Beta Ray Bill.
Kneel before me and rise into the ranks of my great conquest.
I'm glad to see Galadriel's All Shall Love Me in Despair wish finally came true. And Hela's second battle only maxes out her power. I love that she's nearly invincible. It makes the Hail Mary solution all the more needed. Also in love with her using her antlers as a parrying tool. Also a badass Batgirl. Well, at least Hogan got to fight back a bit. Also brutal.
Sakaar lives on the edge of the known and unknown. It is the collection point.
Even Sakaar agrees Gene Wilder was crazy scary.
The Grand Master.
He's wonderful. It is a he?
It is a he.
Yep.
Oh, Jeff Goldblum is always a win.
Starts with a B.
Trash.
No, not trash. Were you waiting to just call her that? It doesn't start with a B.
I don't care if his only direction was, okay, Jeff, just be yourself.
God of thunder!
Wow, I didn't hear any thunder, but out of your fingers, was that like sparkles?
Leave it to Jeff and Taika to finally recognize that Thor is the god of thunder, but his power is more lightning, since loud noises wouldn't be the best power.
You're officially pardoned from life.
Grandmaster Zing, which is also an old favorite, murder jokes.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Jeff Goldblum providing the background track to this scene. Yep.
On any other world, I'd be like millions of years old. But here on Sakaar,
Discretion.
Oh, well, I tried to start a revolution but didn't print enough pamphlets, so hardly anyone turned up, except for my mum and her boyfriend, who I hate.
Oh, just the best revolution shadowing.
Has anyone here fought the Grand Master's champion?
Doug has? Doug! Oh, no, Doug's dead.
Okay, no big surprise here. Everything out of Korg's mouth is pure comedy genius. For days, my wife has been confirming for me, not Doug's dead.
That's exactly what Doug used to say. See you later, new Doug.
And he's by far my favorite character in this movie. Korg is always a win. Can characters get always a win status? New rule, everyone. Characters can now always be wins. Hey, she used to have Thor's hammer.
Odin's treasures.
Fake.
Glad that's finally cleared up.
Hurts, doesn't it? Being lied to. Being told you one thing and learning it's all a fiction.
True, and I'm sure Loki can revel in that a bit, but also, you thought you were mistreated?
Piss off, ghost!
Standing up for your new friend. Oh, that might be the best thing to happen in this movie.
Yeah, not really useful unless you're fighting off 3 vampires that were huddled together.
Yeah, probably only work if they were in the shadows, but you know, then they'd be saying it's what we do in the shadows.
Sounds like you had a pretty special and intimate relationship with this hammer, and that losing it was almost comparable to losing a loved one.
It's a nice way of putting it.
Another comedic jab at the ridiculousness of Thor's mythology while also still somehow honoring its importance.
I think it's great that there is an elite force of women warriors. It's about time.
Feminism.
My hands aren't as steady as they used to be.
They were able to give Thor sweet laser lines and have a good reason for it. Stan Lee, barber informant, will get you every time. Only took 7 years for Thor to finally get his helmet.
No banner, only Hulk.
I made some jokes in my Incredible Hulk video about how we didn't get Green Scar on Sakaar, but that's more words strung together by Hulk than in any other MCU movie. So this might be as smart as the Hulk gets.
Hey, big guy. The sun's getting real low.
Yeah, you're not a hot Russian spy. Also, Planet Hulk! I mean, as close as we're gonna get. Yep.
What's the matter with you? You're embarrassing me. I told them we were friends.
Oh, Taika, can you direct all the movies from here on out? Not just MCU, all the movies. Riffing on lines written by a Make-A-Wish kid? And brutal. And that's a hardcore yup. Sparkles. Have I ever mentioned that the whitest Asgardian Idris Elba is always a win? Chris Hemsworth workout routine.
Hulk, always Hulk.
Can we talk about how far Hulk's mocap has come? I can absolutely see Mark Ruffalo in there now. Even the gray hair.
I smashed you.
Yeah, sure.
Baby
Hulk burn.
You're being a really bad friend.
You bad friend.
Friendship. I mean, to be fair, this is how their friendship has always been.
What are you, crazy?
Yes.
Honesty.
I like smoldering fire.
Being able to laugh at yourself.
That's what.
Oh, it shouldn't work. Slapstick shouldn't work, but Chris makes it work.
Because that's what heroes do.
Hot dang, this has everything I need. Synthy 80s score, futuristic yet depressed Fifth Element type city in solid primary colors. Warm fuzzies.
Strongest Avenger.
Access denied.
Damn you, Stark. Point Break.
At this point, he's got more of an Outsiders thing going on. Or actually Jed from Red Dawn. Wait a minute. So, I'm not one to toot my own horn, but if the shoe fits... Please be going to Sakaar. Please be going to Sakaar.
No matter!
This is something new. Hulk's quick shrink and then fighting off Banner by trying to stay angry. The internal struggle between these two becoming external. Good stuff.
What happened to your hair? Oh, some creepy old man cut it off. It looks good.
Compliments. Crane mirror shots like this are why you get these independent directors. They care about all the little stuff that makes movies interesting to look at. Okay, anyone else want an entire movie devoted to the Valkyries Battle with Hela? I do. And again with Hela's antlers casting shadows over fallen enemies. Self-sacrifice from some nameless Valkyrie.
The fact that I was trapped for 2 years inside of a monster made me a little weird.
Appropriate reaction.
Your hair looks nice. I like what you did with it. Change it. Washed it, maybe.
More compliments about hair.
Best bet is a wormhole just outside of city limits. Refuel on Xandon.
Ha! Stop in and say hi to Glenn Close.
He knows that I love snakes, so I went to pick up the snake to admire it, and he transformed back into himself, and he was like, "Yeah, it's me!" And he stabbed me.
And he stabbed me. Oh, attempted murder jokes. Also, you know what? Chris Hemsworth is always a win. That story clinches it for me.
The revolution has begun.
Yeah, all you need is enough pamphlets.
Oh, I don't like that word. Yes word.
Sorry, the prisoners with jobs have armed themselves.
Okay, that's better.
I don't think you could phase Jeff Goldblum. Like, I don't think anything has ever phased Jeff Goldblum. Must Go Faster isn't being phased. Teamwork. Finally, Thor learning from his brother.
Put this over here for you.
Brotherly love. And here is where I literally couldn't sit still in my seat or wipe the dumb grin off my face. This would be a fun, brightly colored chase scene with Asgardians on ship roofs, cracking skulls no matter what. But then you get Devo's Mark Mothersbaugh's sick score and it becomes something totally memorable. Like, I remembered this scene days after seeing it in theaters. That's like Asgardian flirting, I think? Yeah, flirting.
Hey, man. We're about to jump on that ginormous spaceship. You wanna come?
Benevolence. See, my wife ran into a problem at this point because her response to Fenris, the giant, threatening, evil-looking wolf, was, "Aw, pretty puppy, he's so cute." And it was at that point that I couldn't remember what Hulk actually did to her and started to get really nervous. Come on, Dredd, we know you're not afraid to execute women. I guess I've made it clear that I like the shadows for crown casts?
Where do you think all this gold came from?
The thing about soft retcons/reboots like this is that they often feel forced, but so much of the explanation given in this film actually makes more sense. Yeah, where did the gold come from? Doesn't look like Asgard has a lot of mines.
Believe me, I would love for someone else to rule, but it can't be you. You're just... the worst.
Sugarcoating.
Even a blind man could see it.
Oh, brutal.
What the hell are you talking about?
You'll see!
Oh no. You think you would have learned after the last time he did that. Rainbow bridges are less forgiving than asphalt. Hulk.
Hey, man. I'm Korg. This is me.
Korg to the rescue.
We're gonna jump on that spaceship and get out of here. Wanna come?
And also more benevolence. Actually, at this point, I think it probably falls under philanthropy.
Your savior is here!
Modesty.
Without my hammer, I can't.
Are you Thor, the god of hammers?
Best rhetorical question ever.
That hammer was to help you control your power, to focus it. It's never your source of strength.
This is honestly one of my favorite revelations from this film. Kind of like Quake/Sky's gloves. The hammer wasn't the source of his power, it literally held him back from just electrifying everything.
I'm not as strong as you.
No. You're stronger.
Encouragement from your father. Also, this look on Loki's face. Not even a sibling rivalry could hold back that smirk. Badass, goody, greatest, baddest, badass good guy. Oh, this is the yuppiest set piece that ever yupped. Ugh, this is one of those sequences like the spin around the Avengers battle in Age of Ultron and Darth Vader lighting his lightsaber in the hallway. The 12-year-old inside me leapt out of his seat and jumped up and down in the theater. And with Immigrant Song playing again, which, come on, masterfully brought back, my wife can even get behind Hulk throwing the cute puppy off a waterfall in Loki's smooth, slow-mo redemption. Right call, Bones. Well, now we know how Thanos gets the Space Stone. This moment of dread-demption is so good I'm willing to completely ignore the infinite magazine he has in there. Who knows, he may have a bandana that says Unlimited on it.
Surtur destroys Asgard, he destroys Hellas so that our people may live. But we need to let him finish the job, otherwise...
Character continuity.
Big monster!
I don't think brutal is really the right word. Dude bro just destroyed a planet with a sword. Talk about a reboot. Even got Taika poking fun at the past.
The damage is not too bad, as long as the foundations are still strong. Now those foundations are gone, sorry.
But this is amazing. The heroes don't prevent the end of the world, they make it happen. Expectation subversion. I'll tell you, this movie did more for Thor physically than any other. Sweet haircut he needs to keep, and a balanced half-cape eye patch thing going on. Looking like a warrior leader. Hulk-eyeing Loki with clenched fists. He may be old King Thor, complete with an eye patch, but he's not above a playful wave to his subjects.
Meek, where are you from?
Oh, Meek's dead.
Oh.
Yeah, and I accidentally stomped on him on the bridge. I just feel so guilty. I've been carrying him around all day. Oh, Meek, you're alive! He's alive, guys. What was your question again, bro?
Hey, Meek's alive. And some sweet 80s monocolor Ragnarok style credits while waiting for the stinger. And an end title card. One more in your face to movies of the last 5 years. Think you're so cool with one or sometimes no title card? How do people know what they're watching? Here's two. Infinity War, here we come. Also, I'm not generally pointing out the score over the credits, but Ragnarok's suite is something special. Mark Mothersbaugh outdid himself. Definitely my favorite MCU score, top, let's say 10 of all time. Tron Legacy, Last of the Mohegans, there's a few.
Me too, because I've been a big part of it. Can't have a revolution without somebody to overthrow. So, you're welcome.
Embracing your destiny. I'm gonna jump back to that thing I've never done before and point out that the price of the Blu-ray is literally worth Taika's commentary. He had me rolling within the first few minutes at 1:30 a.m., been a long week, talking about how he was on fire during the Surtur mocap. He does get distracted by his 2-year-old a few times, but honestly that just endears me to him more. Seriously, worth every penny, worth a lot more. I just have this image of Taika Waititi watching the first 2 Thor films and saying, okay, you got all this pretty rainbow stuff, the Bifrost, the bridge, why are you guys playing it so straight? This needs to be an epic 80s metal opera. So then he made that. I alluded to it a little talking about the title card, but my favorite thing about this movie is how it takes itself so freaking seriously and at the same time plays everything for a laugh. Taika made one of the best MCU films while making fun of all MCU films, including the film he was currently making. It's new levels of meta. Not even the characters take anything seriously, and it makes it so real.
You're Banner's friend.
I'm not Banner's friend, I prefer you. You don't even like the Hulk. He's all like, smash. I prefer you.
It makes these moments feel totally earned. But so much of Sakaar is like this A-list movie in a B-movie skin. Look at this dumb armor and the spot color soldiers wielding Teletubby weapons. Goofy B-movie sets that are clearly inspired by Jack Kirby. In fact, most of Sakaar is like a love letter to him. But it's almost like they're pretending to run out of time and money. So just make that wall green and that one red.
The red, the white, just pick a color. Ridiculous.
I love it. Even this mounted gun is solid purple. But then, at the same time, Loki, Thor, Hela, and Valkyrie's costumes are beautifully ornate, their weapons are top-notch, and all the visual effects and CGI are out of this world. It's a movie that pretends to not know what it's doing, but in reality knows exactly what it's doing. I made a point in my review of saying that I wouldn't call this movie a comedy per se, because I think it's so much more, but that doesn't mean it isn't hilarious.
Is that some sort of protoplasm, all the stuff that's coming out of you, or are they eggs? Looks like eggs.
Korg doesn't utter a single word that doesn't make me laugh.
What about you? You're made of rocks.
Perishable rock. Oh, there you go. Another one. Go on.
But even Hela had some chuckle moments.
Whoever I am, did you listen to a word I said?
This is the funniest Thor has ever been. He loosens way up, letting the fish out of water stuff from the first movie go, and it makes him so much more relatable. And it's not just how he reads the lines or ad-libs.
Lost my hammer, like yesterday, so that's still pretty fresh.
It's all his little subtle looks and mumbles to himself.
Welcome, strongest Avenger.
What?
I had no clue he had it in him. Loki is pretty much right at home. He's always been fun to watch, but it was nice to see him have people to play off of. And then it would have been so easy to misstep and just make Valkyrie the badass, stoic, angry soldier chick. But she's a goofy drunk with a complicated backstory and a strong personality. I'm not the first to say it, but Phase 3 has had some of the best villains in the MCU. Killmonger is definitely up at the top, and so is Hela. She's evil and chews the scenery, but also has this complicated history where she was Odin's pit bull until he couldn't handle her anymore. Cate Blanchett was perfect. She commands the camera whenever she's on screen and mixes beauty and evil in an emotionally confusing way. The biggest theme running through this movie could be simplified to the magic was in you all along. And that works. Both Thor's power and Asgard's home aren't reliant on external things. Planets and hammers don't matter as much as people. Another concept I find interesting is looking a little deeper into why Thor couldn't realize his full potential. And I think that his hammer was sort of a symbol of being stuck in his father's shadow. When his father affirms him, he's able to unleash the thunder. Well, lightning. But that's actually a theme running throughout. Loki similarly was stuck in Thor's shadow, dealing with their brotherly history, always looking for the next angle to selfishly one-up him. Once Thor confesses that maybe their relationship will never be what Thor envisioned and that that's okay, his roundabout way of accepting Loki, Loki actually returns of his own free will to help Thor and his people. Same with Valkyrie, she was suppressing and hiding from her past, drinking her terrible memories away. It wasn't until Loki brought it all back that she was ready to die for some redemption. And Hulk, ironically, not Bruce, was the driving force behind his story.
No, no team, only Hulk!
He ran away at the end of Age of Ultron trying to keep Bruce at bay until Bruce broke free by seeing Nat again. Heck, Hela herself and her entire history were buried along with her dog. But she's the only one trying to uncover the past and return things to what they once were. Unfortunately for her, they wipe it all clean and start over fresh in the end. Which does make this movie a bit of a reboot. But if you want to hear more about that, I'm actually going to defer you to another YouTuber you should check out if you want more sweet, sweet psychedelic Technicolor action. It's time to gaze upon the majesty that is Movies with Mikey and his channel FilmJoy.
Your savior is here!
The most underrated and undersubscribed YouTuber to ever YouTube. He is easily one of my top favorite 5 YouTubers. Both painting frames and writing nerds are also great, but sincerely, he is hands down my favorite video essay creator, if you can even call him that. He takes movies you've already thought about to death and offers up a new and unique assessment with an analytical and meticulous approach. Sometimes I feel like he's in my brain, pulling things from different corners and blending them into cohesive thoughts. And he's done so with Thor Ragnarok today, and I am excited for it. If you want to know what quality level he's operating at, you need to look no further than the intros to his videos. I don't usually, I'm gonna play a clip. Seriously, what? How did he even do that? How did he make Scott Pilgrim look cooler? His editing is some of the most fun and interesting on the platform. He has a bunch of amazing videos that I'm constantly getting sucked into for the 3rd, 7th time. If I had to highlight one... Oh man, his Force Awakens video. You want to hear someone genuinely speak their heart in a convincing, well thought out manner about why and how Star Wars is important and what that means. Whoo boy, he'll get you by the end. But start with his Ragnarok video. Honestly, one of my favorite parts of Movies with Mikey is his silly freestyle read of his Patreon supporters at the end of his videos. Okay, his content is better, but my point is that the entertainment found in his inane ramblings about people's names is a testament to his talent and likability. Is it getting weird yet? I imagine that it is. But seriously, go check out FilmJoy and Movies with Mikey, subscribe to him, follow him on Twitter, maybe ask him how I can get such a huge Twitter following while you're there. But tell him I sent you and give him some love. Seriously, it's a travesty he's below 100K. Well, let's break that 100,000 mark today. He and his channel more than deserve it. And ready? One Mikey Newman out of context joke for the road.
That one science fiction show by that Weebin guy? Wobbin? Weebin? Jumps? Schwaben. Is that right? No? Okay.
Thanks, friends.
That's how it feels!
I'm just a huge fan of the sport.